Heroes Hot Takes. Wow, this movie score is kind of weak-ass. It sounds like they took the iconic Mario theme and just put it through a epic movie trailer filter, add some bass to it, make it a slow plodding piano tune. It's underwhelming. It was a very safe choice. In their defense, they did mention in this very direct that they are still going into the music composition phase. That will be happening in the next couple of weeks here.
Composer Brian Tyler heads to the scoring stage in just 11 days. He's been working hand in hand with Koji Kondo to integrate classic themes from the game into the film score.
So this is not at all what we should expect from the final score. This is definitely just a placeholder song to kind of give the vibe that, yeah, it's the Mario movie. It is there to be purely functional. Soon they'll be composing an actual score with Koji Kondo, the original composer for Mario music. And that is extremely exciting. So for now, we can give this score a pass because it is in no way the final score of the movie. We can be optimistic, I think. You guys might call me a freak for this, for kind of hyper fixating on this, but from the moment I saw this screenshot, I can't get this thought out of my head. Where's the cake, Nintendo? This is Mario, Super Mario, your main boy, and you weren't gonna give him at least a little bit of a butt? Not only does Mario not have an ass, he has like negative ass there. You see those overalls going like in. This man's sucking in his butt or something. Like, you know how people suck in their gut? He's doing that to his butt. It's like really noticeable, right? I'm not the only one staring at Mario's butt here, but I will die alone on this hill if I have to. Mario is the main boy of Nintendo. He deserves a little cake. So once the direct began, Miyamoto comes on for a little bit. Why am I talking like that? So once the direct came on, Miyamoto came on and, teases the movie a bit, gives us a little briefing of what we'll be seeing today. And unfortunately, we only get to really speak to the producer of the movie, Chris, not Pratt, Meledandri. And then we also get to speak to Chris Pratt and Jack Black's Browser and Jack Black's Bowser before getting into the main teaser trailer. It was not necessarily exciting, but nice to hear details about behind the scenes from the movie from Chris Meledandri, the producer of the film. But I also wish we got to speak to like some animators working on the film. If we're going to set aside time for a whole direct, let us hear from the movie's director. Let us hear from some art people. You got Nintendo nerds tuning in for a thing about a movie. It's a very unique scenario. I would have thought they would have tried to maximize the mileage out of it, but it was cool and reassuring hearing what Chris Meledandri had to say. Basically that this movie has been a very careful planning process over a decade in the making. He considers Miyamoto a friend, or one of them back and forth called them my friend.
Now, I'd like to hear from Chris-san, my good friend and great partner for the movie. Let's bring him in.
So they at least have a very friendly working relationship. The synergy seems good. I think it is a good partnership between the two, and it's a good idea to hear from Chris here. And when I did a little digging into Chris Meledandri, this movie's producer, I was actually, pretty impressed with the resume. He's responsible for classic movies like Despicable Me. The first Despicable Me before the Minions became a whole franchise was a movie with a lot of heart to it. It was a really good film. So he's capable of movies with that kind of quality. He also was the executive producer for the first two Ice Age movies, also movies with a lot of hearts, a lot of passion. And if you dig even deeper in his IMDb page, it gets even more weird when you see he's worked on movies like Sister Act 2. He was co-executive producer on that project. Interesting. So the man certainly got a lot of experience under his belt and has been behind a lot of successful projects. I know people are concerned about Illumination because in recent history, They've really been doubling down on a cheap animation first, make lots of money model. What I'm trying to say is Illumination films don't always look the best when you compare it to your other big animated films. They kind of go for the cheapest option. There's a lot of lack of passion for the craft, it can feel like, from a lot of modern Illumination movies like Sing and even the Minions films. They just feel kind of, soulless and corporate. And these are all movies that Chris here has been heading in recent history. So people are like, oh shoot, Illumination, myself included, we're rightfully nervous about the people handling this movie. It seems like Nintendo is a good check and balance for Chris Meledandri and the greater Illumination company. As my friend David put it, Nintendo isn't going to repeat the mistake they made with the first Mario movie.
Hey, wait a minute, you can't arrest a guy for just singing a song?
For anti-Koopa songs we can. Plumbers!
Are you telling us that you can arrest a guy for being a plumber? Get out of here!
Get in there, plumber!
No! Hey, what is this?
All right, what do we do?
I'm getting arrested for being a plumber.
Name?
Mario.
Last name?
Mario.
Okay, what's your name?
Luigi.
Luigi?
No, Luigi Mario.
At least visually, this thing needs to look its absolute best. And I think Chris actually has a passion for this project, maybe like he did for his older works, like Ice Age and a better looking movie is Despicable Me. Maybe there can actually be some artistry to this movie. And who would have expected it being an Illumination movie? The modern quintessential example of soulless corporate America controlling an animation studio. But we got a first look at the trailer, and so far the visuals are great. They're still finishing it up, but the slice they gave us was moi. I was literally watching in awe as the Bowser Island. It reminded me of like the new Super Mario Bros. Wii World 8 Bowser's Island being mobilized across this ice scape and plonking itself in front of this ice castle.
Behold, the king of the Koopas!
Open the gates!
I loved I believe those penguins are kind of like the penguins in Super Mario 64, giving them their own like kingdom and working the worlds that way to make it an interesting film universe. I thought it was a cool just like taste of showing off Bowser's power. He just looks like the leader of this giant empire. He is imposing, and it is a great first look at Bowser and kind of taste of what to expect from him going forward. What was good with Chris Pratt during the Chris Pratt section, though?
Growing up, man, I spent hours of my life stomping Koopas in the original Mario Brothers arcade game.
This man was either, one, reading his lines for the first time, and it was like that type of reading you do when you're reading a script and none of the words are making sense yet. You're just doing the act of speaking. You're not communicating anything. It felt like Chris was doing that, like he had some teleprompter in front of him and he was just like, okay, I'm gonna read this. He either did that and or he just wasn't sober, because he did not look sober.
It's been a lifelong dream of mine to become Mario. That dream, like all dreams, faces one critical challenge, as in the film. I must face off against an utterly ruthless scene stealer, stomping Koopas.
But hey, the live chat went bananas when Chris Pratt came on. The meme of him being the voice of Mario is still going on strong, as you can see. So, That's the most enjoyability we got so far from Chris Pratt's Mario, is the meme factor, and that won't have much longevity, so a little concerned. Also, did Chris Pratt record his segment like over Zoom or something? The weird blurring effect around him is not working either and adds to the uncanniness of his whole talking head segment. Here's what I mean. What they're trying to do is, have him in focus and have the background out of focus. Nothing wrong with that if it were, done with a camera and the background was actually out of focus and the focus was on him. But it's done with some sort of filter where they masked around him after the fact and made the background blurry. You can tell this because he bleeds into the mask frequently. His ear becomes this fuzzy blob. So they didn't do a good job masking it either. And that's why I'm led to believe that this was done like in real time with some sort of Zoom thing. And that's why it looks just kind of not great. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. The Chris Pratt stuff just keeps getting weirder. Did we really need to do the teleport to another world trope? He just pops out of a tube and starts talking.
What is this place?
That's a voice.
We don't get so many lines from him, so it's hard to get a real sense of what his performance of Mario will be like. But he sounds like Chris Pratt.
It's a Mario. That's not the voice. You'll have to wait to hear the voice.
What is this place?
The only line that I like of his so far is the very last line as they're running towards the castle. I forget what he says. It's something like, "Let's go on an adventure."
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come!
And when he does that, it kind of has a mix of, he's putting on a Brooklyn accent like the early cartoon Mario version had.
Patty cake, pasta man! Give me pasta power as fast as you can! Pasta power!
It sounds like this Mario also has a little bit of a Brooklyn accent, but with a Charles Martinet twist. He had a little bit of honey syrupiness in his voice, which was nice. It was like, "Let's go to the castle," but more Brooklyn-y.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come!
So it could be actually a really interesting mix of that kind of New York Mario, gritty, a little more hardened, I'm a working plumber, but also Charles Martinet's more cartoony, happy-go-lucky Mario. It seems like Chris Pratt, if, we'll see how the movie plays out, if he can walk that line, he could actually put on a really interesting Mario performance. But frankly, I just don't think we got enough to really make a full judgment on what his performance will be like, but it was a pretty underwhelming first taste. Jack Black, though. I'm a big fan of Jack Black. I was a fan of the choice to include him in the movie from the beginning. He is a gamer/nerd type guy. He even has a YouTube channel, Jay Blinsky Games. I don't know if he still posts to it. I'll have to check on that in post. I can show that on screen here. But he definitely cares about gaming, and it's very obvious from the trailer that he is giving this role his all. It's kind of funny because you hear Jack Black and you picture him squealing, throwing the rock and roll sign up in the air and like talking like he's in a metal band, like type of thing. That's like what I think of when I think of Jack Black, or even, Po from Kung Fu Panda. I spaced on the name of that movie for a hot sec. But he pulls off a nice deeper voice. It lacks that growly, monsterish quality that the Bowser voice in the video game universe has. But I was surprised at how deep and like how transformative Jack Black's voice was as Bowser. I definitely can see him being a menacing villain that can pull off some comedic moments. I really think the design for Bowser works and the voice behind it is selling me. So yeah, I like Jack Black as Bowser so far. Stole the show. Stole the show. Also, did y'all notice Jack Black's shirt? It was like this trippy jungle version of Bowser. It looked really sick. It's unfortunately, cropped to his chest, but pay attention to it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Underrated. And yeah, they showed off the trailer. It was stunning visually. I like that Miyamoto promised this being a movie with a lot of background details. He literally said, pay attention to the background. You'll notice a lot of fun stuff.
You'll get to see the Mushroom Kingdom on the big screen. Look closely, and you'll spot things in all sorts of places.
So we can expect like Easter eggs, just fun designs. It's promising to be a very visually dense movie with a pretty good voice cast. So yeah, I think it'll be an enjoyable time. It'll at least be a visual treat to watch, and I'm excited for that. Mario deserves a good movie. We've now had Pikachu and Sonic step up to the plate and hit some home runs with their movies. Those movies both at least look great, maybe a little vapid as film experiences, but successfully translated the video game to a film universe and really gave fans a worthwhile video game movie. They're not necessarily good movies, but they're good experiences for those fans. And that's what I'm hoping this movie will be as well. Maybe it'll be a little vapid like the Detective Pikachu film and the Sonic film, but there'll still be heart behind it and passion. And that's really all I can ask for. Especially my biggest fear being this being an Illumination movie headed by Chris Pratt. Otherwise, there seems to be a lot of heart in this movie. It's a weird mix of corporate and filled with heart. But that's just Nintendo, I guess. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you next time.
What do you think will happen during Mario's adventure in the Mushroom Kingdom?
He'll win.